Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss about the drug absorption from the gastrointestinal tract, and this absorption from the gastrointestinal tract, it involves the oral route of drug administration, and the oral route is called as the extravascular route, and we have other extravascular route including the subcutaneous route, the intramuscular route, the intraperitoneal route. In case of the intravascular routes, we have intra-arterial route, we have intravenous route. तो extravascular route में there is a process of absorption, and in case of intra vascular route such as intravenous and intraarterial route, there is no process of absorption. So there is a difference between the extravascular route and the intravascular route, that in case of intravascular route there is no process of absorption, and in case of extravascular route, which include the oral route, again the subcutaneous route, and intramuscular route and intraperitoneal route, there is a process of drug absorption. So it involves the drug absorption process. So as a typical example, we will discuss about the drug absorption from the gastrointestinal tract. And let's begin with the first slide, which speaks that the GIT, it has the different pH in the stomach. The pH vary as compared to the small intestine. So यहाँ पे the important factor is the pH that should be considered. We have the enzyme; they play very important role in the drug absorption process, and there is a fluid, and fluid, yes, it plays a very important role in the absorption of drug. So the GIT tract, it has the varying pH, enzyme, and the fluid properties that basically affect the drug stability, as well as it affect the drug absorption process. We in the GIT, we have different regions, starting from the, you can say, the mouth, and then going to the stomach, and then going into the small intestine. So all these regions, they provide different environment that basically affect the drug behavior, including the absorption as well as again the stability of the drug in the GIT. So yes, there is a variation among different regions that affect the solubility. If the drug is, you can say, if the drug first should be solubilized, and then it is absorbed. So these variations, such as the variation in pH, variation in fluid, and variation in the surface area, basically affect the overall bioavailability of the drug from the GIT. तो ये कुछ फैक्टर्स हैं जिसमें द जो वो है, आई मीन के GIT की pH है, जो उसकी फ्लूइड की कंपोजिशन है, एंड अगेन द surface area है of the small intestine as compared to the stomach. जो small intestine का surface area, it is greater as compared to the stomach, तो इसलिए यहाँ पे ड्रग की absorption ज़्यादा होती है. So all these factors, they basically affect the absorption process, and today we will discuss all these things in details. So let's start from the features of the small, I mean the gastrointestinal tract. The GIT is one of the region that is basically, it is supplied with the plenty of the drug. There is a lot of drug that is available. तो इसलिए यहाँ पे जो ड्रग की एब्जॉर्प्शन होती है, it is carried out to the liver, and this is because of the, you can say, there should be the blood supply, and it is one of the richest area where there is a blood supply is there. And in case of the GIT, we have two major regions, including the stomach, that is one of the organ which is responsible for the absorption of drug, but the stomach has got less surface area because it is its surface is smooth. तो इसलिए जब स्टमक की सरफेस स्मूथ होती है, तो यहाँ पे ड्रग की एब्जॉर्प्शन इट इज लेस as compared to the small intestine. Small intestine में there are a lot of holes called villi, and there is large surface area, so absorption of the drug, it is greater as compared to the stomach. So that's why the surface area of the small intestine, it basically favors the much more drug absorption from the small intestine as compared to the stomach. And Yes, there is large volume of fluid in the GIT that basically favors the drug dissolution process, solubility, and finally the drug it is absorbed. So these are some of the basics things that are related to the GIT, including the blood supply, the surface area, and the fluid in the GIT. So here you can see when the drug is basically absorbed from the intestine, it is absorbed from the stomach, it goes into the liver, and there is a first pass effect. तो ये जब भी ड्रग अब्जॉर्ब होती है जीआईटी से, इट फर्स्ट गोज into the liver before going into the systemic circulation. So this absorption of drug from the intestine into the blood, which is called as the portal blood, and then going into the liver. This is called, and there is a process of metabolism before the drug goes into the blood. I mean the systemic blood. This is called as the first pass metabolism, or it is called as the first pass effect. बहुत सिंपल कंसेप्ट है कि इसमें जब हमारी ड्रग जीआईटी में होती है, आई मीन द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में, यहाँ से एब्जॉर्प्शन के बाद इट गोज into the blood, which is called as the portal blood, and then this portal blood carries the blood into the liver, where there is initially drug metabolism. This is called as the first pass effect. After first pass effect, drug it become bioavailable in the systemic circulation, and it is ready to produce its pharmacological effect or drug action. तो जो वो है फर्स्ट पास इफेक्ट है, दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू predict the bioavailability of the drug. If drug is 100% metabolized before reaching the systemic circulation, its bioavailability will be zero. If none of the drug is metabolized in the liver and all of the drug it is available in the systemic circulation, then bioavailability should be altogether what is absorbed, it should be the bioavailable. जब ड्रग की absorption होती है, तो अगर लीवर उसको 100% मेटाबोलाइज कर देता है, तो इट मीन्स there is a significant or there is no drug is available in the blood or in the systemic circulation to produce its action. So that's why the first pass effect is very important, and we should know the which drugs they undergo first pass effect, किन ड्रग का फर्स्ट पास इफेक्ट है नहीं है, कितने परसेंट तक है. एज ए फार्मासिस्ट वी शुड नो व्हाट इज़ द फर्स्ट पास इफेक्ट, और ये किस तरह इफेक्ट करता है ड्रग की बायोअवेलेबिलिटी को. Okay, so then again, this is the stomach, and it has got pH from 1 to 3.5, so acidic environment. Then we from the stomach we have duodenum, that is the part of small intestine, and its pH is from 5.8 to 6.5. And then we have the ileum, that is also the part of small intestine, and its pH is 7 to 8. So stomach, duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, and then we have large intestine, that is colon, and its pH is from 5.5 to 7. So हमारी जितनी भी ज़्यादातर drugs हैं, they are basically absorbed. Most of the drugs they are absorbed from the ileum, that is the part of small intestine, and the ileum it has got villi, macrovilli, so large surface area that favors basically the drug absorption from the GIT. Okay, so moving next. That is the important feature of the stomach. Again, the stomach it has got the pH which is acidic in nature. So gin drugs, I mean the pH is always for the fluid, it is not for the any substance. ये fluid के साथ associated होती है, and for the drug it is the pKa value that is associated. तो इसलिए the stomach का जो medium है, because it is for the fluid, और stomach का जो medium है that is basically the acidic in nature. इसकी जो pH है from 1.1 to 3.5. So lower is the pH, more acidic is the medium. So mostly it is from 1 to 2.5. So that's why the stomach का जो medium है that is acidic in nature. And again the pH, P इसमें remember that P is always small. जब भी आप इसको लिखते हैं pKa को लिखते हैं या pH को लिखते हैं, the P should be small. And the stomach it has again got the acidic medium, and if the medium is acidic, the drugs that are acidic in nature should be absorbed from the stomach, but stomach has got less surface area, that's why less amount of drug is absorbed. Otherwise अगर pH को आप देखें तो the drug especially the acidic drug should be absorbed from the stomach, लेकिन ये again the surface area की वजह से the less drug it is absorbed. and the stomach has got very smooth surface, but it churns the food into very small pieces, and then it is available for uniform mixing. तो जो stomach का action है, it plays a very important role. And the dosage form from the stomach, they take mostly zero point 0.5 to 2 hours to pass from the stomach to the intestine. So that's why gastric empty time is 0.5 to 2 hours, ये इसका vary कर रहा होता है. If the stomach is empty, the empty time is less, means drug will go very fast. If the stomach is having the heavy food, or it is having the high fat meal, then the movement of drug from the stomach into the intestine will be delayed, and it will not be faster when the stomach will be the empty. तो ये चीज़ें बड़ी काउंट करती हैं कि गैस्ट्रिक एम्पटिंग कितनी फास्ट है, और ड्रग के एब्जॉर्प्शन के ऊपर भी इसका इफेक्ट होता है. So if the gastric emptying is fast, it means drug will go very quickly into the small intestine and it will be rapidly absorbed. If there is a high fat meat, high fat meals, or there is heavy meal in the stomach, the drug emptying into the stomach will be into the small intestine will be delayed, and drug absorption will be slowed down. तो ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो एज ए फार्मासिस्ट यू शुड नो कि गैस्ट्रिक एम्पटिंग क्या है, और मिक्सिंग एक्शन इसका क्या है, स्टमक का इन्वायरमेंट क्या है, पीएच क्या है, और पीएच इज़ अगेन इट इज़ एसोसिएटेड विद द फ्लूइड. ये पीएच किसी ड्रग की नहीं होती, इट इज़ ऑलवेज विद द फ्लूइड. Okay, so next is the important feature of the duodenum and the again the ileum and jejunum की जो वो है important features, they are the part of small intestine. So I would say that this is rather I would say this is for the for the small intestine. Here we can write it as the small intestine. So important feature of the small intestine. So इसको हम small intestine we can write it. So these are the important feature of the small intestine. So the duodenum, that is the first part of the small intestine, that has got the pH from 5 to 7, duodenum, jejunum, and then we have jejunum, and then we have the ileum. These are the main absorption site, because the small intestine is the main absorption site, and especially the ileum, it is the major site for drug absorption. And the ileum, and especially the ileum, it contains the villi and macrovilli that basically increase the surface area for the drug absorption. तो इसके लिए जो surface होती है, I mean the small intestine की, that contains the villi and macrovilli that increase the surface area, and there is more drug absorption from the small intestine. So there is also a lot of blood supply to the villi, so that carries the blood, that carries the drugs into the portal circulation, and then moving into the liver for first pass effect. So the drug must be in solution form if it has to be absorbed from the small intestine. So taken together, the small intestine has got very large surface area. The pH is basic in nature, but most of the drugs, whether they are acidic or they are basic drugs, they are absorbed from the small intestine because it has got large surface area. So this is the absorption process. If the absorption is very quick, that will affect the onset. That means कि drug action कब start होता है, the duration of drug action उसको affect करता है, the bioavailability को affect करता है, and the extent of absorption. All these things, they basically determined by the absorption rate. So absorption rate, onset, duration, bioavailability. Bioavailability का chapter we will discuss in the later classes. So it will be coming, and the extent of absorption also it is affected by the absorption rate. So here you can see that these are the villi. ये basically villi, and inside the villi we have the macrovilli. So this is because of the villi and macrovilli we have large surface area. अब surface हमारे पास ज़्यादा. In case of stomach, this is smooth. That's why the stomach has got the low surface area, and the small intestine, it has got large surface area. Okay, what are the basic mechanism for the absorption of drug? We again have given the oral route, but you can extravascular route से आप कोई भी वो कर सकते हैं, as example ले सकते हैं. So the absorption of drug basically occur through the biological membrane that is called as the plasma membrane, and it is a lipid bilayer. अगर आप इसको वो देखें तो there is lipid bilayer, और उसके अंदर proteins हैं, so you can check its physiology. But the thing is कि जो लिपिड मेम्ब्रेन है, it allows the lipid soluble drug to move faster as compared to water soluble drugs. This is the general rule कि क्योंकि ये lipid bilayer है तो lipid soluble drug they move freely from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, I mean into the blood. So that's why they involve the passive absorption from higher to lower concentration in unionized form. But if the drug is water soluble, there should be another mechanism that could be active transport through which the drug can be absorbed. So in order for the drug to be absorbed from the GIT into the blood, the drug has to cross the plasma membrane. तो उसने उस plasma membrane को cross करना है. So moving to the two processes, they are basically involved. The first one that is called as the passive absorption or the passive diffusion, and most of the drugs they basically are absorbed from the GIT, especially from the small intestine by the passive diffusion के through absorb होती है. And in case of passive diffusion, the drug moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. यानी कि हमारी GIT के अंदर जब drug होती है तो higher concentration में होती है because we have taken the drug and inside the blood there is no drug. I mean in the portal blood there is no drug. So drug moves from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, and these are the physicochemical property as well as the that determines कि ड्रग की मूवमेंट कैसे होगी. कंसंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट का अपना रोल है. अगेन जिस तरह मैंने आपको बताया कि पैसिव डिफ्यूजन की एक जो बेसिक डेफिनेशन है कि देयर इज मूवमेंट ऑफ ड्रग फ्रॉम द हायर कंसंट्रेशन इनटू द लोअर कंसंट्रेशन, तो इसलिए ड्रग जो है मूव करती है हायर टू लोअर कंसंट्रेशन. एंड द फिजिकोकेमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, ड्रग की सॉल्युबिलिटी क्या है, लिपिड सॉल्युबिलिटी क्या है, मॉलिक्यूल किस तरह का है. सो ऑल दीज थिंग दे बेसिकली अफेक्ट द ट्रांसफर ऑफ ड्रग from the GIT into the blood. So this is the concentration, again the gradient that affect the, in case of passive diffusion, it that affect the absorption of drug from the intestine into the portal blood. So that is the driving force. If the concentration gradient is more driving force for the drug to be absorbed from the intestine into the blood. So the passive diffusion, it follows the first order kinetics process. That means that greater is the drug, greater will be the drug concentration, greater will be the rate of absorption. जितनी ज़्यादा ड्रग की concentration ज़्यादा होगी GIT के अंदर उतना rate of absorption ज़्यादा होगा. So that means the first order kinetics. First order में हम दोनों directly proportional होते हैं. Means the absorption as well as the drug concentration they will be directly proportional to each other. In simple words, जब हम first order की बात करते हैं तो dependent or independent variable they are directly proportional to each other, and in this case the drug concentration is independent variable and the drug absorption it is the dependent variable. So more is the drug concentration, more will be the drug absorption from the intestine into the blood. Okay, so next is called as the active transport, and in case of active transport there is a carrier involvement. इसमें carrier involved होता है, carrier mediated process there, that is there, and it requires energy. इसमें जो process में है there is a energy it is involved. That's why it is called as active transport, and the drug move from lower concentration into the higher concentration. यहाँ पे जो drug की movement है that is basically the from low to high concentration की तरफ move करती है. So that's why it is called as the active transport, and there is the energy process इसमें involve होता है, there is involvement of energy. So basically जब हम discuss करते हैं active transport को, it follows the Michaelis-Menten process. इसको it is not as simple as it looks, but it follows the Michaelis-Menten process. Active transport it follows the saturable or Michaelis-Menten kinetics, which means that if the drug concentration it is low in the GIT, the process will be, you can say the process will be the passive diffusion, or it will follow the first order process. If the concentration is little higher, it will follow the Michaelis-Menten kinetics process. If concentration is even more higher, it will lead to zero order kinetics जो process है उसको ये वो follow करता है. So you can say कि इसमें जो वो है the rate of absorption is not directly proportional to the drug concentration. It varies. इस केस में ये vary कर रहा होता है कि low concentration first order, फिर it follows the Michaelis-Menten, and then there is you can say the zero order process for the drug absorption if the concentration is even more higher. So these things they should be kept in mind when you are looking at the drug absorption process. So we will discuss the role of Michaelis-Menten kinetics in case of drug absorption in our next lecture. But I would say as a basic thing, the rate of absorption, it is at low concentration it is first order process. At high, little higher, it is following the Michaelis-Menten process, and even at higher it follows the zero order process for the drug to be absorbed. Okay, so this is the basically the summary of the absorption from the GIT. This is you can say the mouth. So GIT starts from the mouth. pH is 6.8, and the small surface area, because smooth is has got, the mouth has got smooth surface. That's why its surface area is small. So lipid soluble, neutral, and basic drugs, they are basically absorbed from the mouth into the blood. So mouth, it has got pH 6.8, that is very close to neutral. That's why we say कि जहाँ से lipid soluble और जो basic drugs and they are absorbed. And the next we have got the stomach, और इसकी जो pH है 1 से 3 तक का acidic in nature, और इसका surface area is very small because the surface is smooth. Lipid soluble drugs, they are absorbed, neutral drugs, they are absorbed, and acidic drugs, they are mostly absorbed. But again, the small intestine, that has got the pH 7.5, it has got large surface area. इसके अंदर जो वो है the lipid soluble drugs, they are absorbed, neutral drugs, they are absorbed, and acidic and basic drugs, they are basically absorbed from the small intestine. So most of the drugs, they are absorbed from the small intestine. Again, this is the liver, that is the site of metabolism of most of the drugs. And after the drug goes from the small intestine into the liver, this is called as the portal circulation, and inside the liver there is metabolism, and this is called as the first pass effect. ये फर्स्ट पास इफेक्ट है. एंड इन द फर्स्ट पास इफेक्ट, if the drug is 100% absorbed, there will be no bioavailability of the drug. If there is no drug metabolism in the stomach, then the drug will be 100% bioavailable whatever has been absorbed. तो ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं. And again the liver produces the bile which help in the absorption of lipid soluble drugs, ये उनको भी help करता है. So this is all about today's lecture, which says that the absorption of drug from the extravascular route, especially the in case of oral route, कि कैसे ड्रग की absorption होती है, और क्या रोल है pH का, फिजिको-केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज का, व्हाट इज पैसिव absorption, व्हाट इज एक्टिव प्रोसेस, और क्या Michaelis-Menten इक्वेशन आती है. So altogether, passive absorption simply means from higher concentration to lower concentration. In case of active process, this involves the Michaelis-Menten principle, which states that at low concentration it is directly proportional to the concentration. ये फर्स्ट ऑर्डर को फॉलो करता है, और हायर कंसंट्रेशन थोड़ी सी हो तो इट फॉलोज द Michaelis-Menten प्रोसेस, एंड इवन एट हायर कंसंट्रेशन इट फॉलोज द जीरो ऑर्डर प्रोसेस. तो ये चीज़ें हम डिटेल के साथ नेक्स्ट जो हमारे लेक्चर है उसमें डिस्कस करेंगे. थैंक यू वेरी मच.